Now, in spite of the many hurdles and roadblocks that India's most ambitious project Aadhaar has faced, it is in fact running full steam ahead. In fact, when the registration starts next month in April, the authority hopes to add about 40 crore more Indians, and that is an ambitious target. I did catch up with Director General RS Sharma and began by asking him that why did the authority have to take a break and what were the key learnings in that period.
What has happened is that we had an authorization for 20 crore enrollments. That came to an end sometimes in the last week of January. And we had no further authorization, so obviously the only way for us was to stop enrollment or tell our partners that we will not be able to pay for the extra enrollments beyond 20 crores. Now the approval, as you know, came on 27th of January by the Cabinet Committee on UIDAI. And therefore we thought that because there is, and then we will have to go to the EFC and get the fresh mandate and fresh, final approvals. We thought that we could use this interim period of about 1 to 2 months to basically have a relook at the processes and relook at the technology. So this is the reason for having a fresh start, and we have done that. We had a committee in the UIDAI which went into the question as to what have been the key learnings and how do we sort of incorporate these learnings into the new phase. And we have completed that process. We are calling a conference of our partners and registrars on 3rd of April. Okay. And we will, discuss this with them, and hopefully by the 3rd week of April we will start enrollment.
But when you say the committee has had a look at, the techniques, the processes that you've used, what kind of key learnings have come up and how would they reflect in the changes that you will perhaps make in your second phase?
You see, we have had a number of changes which we think will probably be required at the client level to improve the efficiency, to ensure that the data captured by the partners is uploaded without any delay.
That's right.
Many times there are a lot of delays and therefore the residents complain to us that they don't get the number. And therefore to ensure that they are synced every 7 days and there are better processes at the technology end. This is part one. Part two of the process was to ensure that there is a better ownership and supervision of the registrars which are getting this done. Right. So the state governments must have verifiers, must ensure that the processes are improved. Third thing which we have major decision which we have taken is that currently the documents which are being collected at the enrollment centers, these documents are separately handled by a document management service provider.
That's right.
Now these we want that this should be actually at the time of enrollment, these documents must be scanned and must be a part of the packet which the enrollment agencies send to us, so that we have a very clear visibility as to what is the documents on the basis of which this particular enrollment has been done.
This is a very ambitious project, and because this is perhaps being done by technocrats like yourselves, this has in some way drawn daggers between various ministries. So the Food Ministry has snubbed the project. They are not very happy with the kind of data collection that has happened. They want to do their own thing. The Home Minister has raised certain concerns and said that, the data that's being collected, personal data of citizens may not be safe enough because, this is personal data that's being collected. Other detractors, and I'm going to speak with the Standing Committee on Finance in just a bit. How will you take care of the various ministries and the concerns that have been raised, and how much of a roadblock has this really been in a project like this?
See, we have maintained from the very beginning the basic issue of necessity of issuing the unique ID numbers to the resident is something which has been deliberated by the government, the empowered group of ministers, for 2006 to 2009. So let's not get into whether the project per se, the issuance of the resident ID numbers, numbers to the resident is something which I think we should accept, because adequate amount of studies have been done, recommendations have been made, and the authority was constituted with the mandate to issue numbers to the residents of this country. So that is what we have been doing. That's part one. Sure. Part two of the mandate is that this number is useful, the utility of this number. One is it's useful in the sense that you are able to ensure that the databases do not contain any duplicates or fakes.
Sure.
So this is part one. So for example, in the BPL, in the ration card list, if you put the databases of ration card with the numbers, you will be able to ensure that one person does not have multiple ration cards. True. Because the number is one number per resident. Right. That's one part. So essentially what we are doing, we are giving this offering, saying that here is a platform which can be leveraged to deliver various services in your department, whether it is, BPL, whether it is ration to the people, or whether it is Narega job payments, or National Social Assistance Program payment. That's what it is. Now, obviously, each department will have its own take and will have its own, process and its own time, and obviously its own view as to how they are going to re-engineer their applications.
But how difficult does life become if these concerns are raised in public forums? I mean, the Home Minister has minced no words and said that he's not very happy with the way data has been collected. This could pose a security threat. The Food Ministry believes this isn't something that they would want to see when they are looking at subsidy distribution. So, I mean, how much of a concern does that raise with you?
Let's separate these issues.
Yeah.
One issue is the issue of applications.
That's right.
How do you leverage Aadhaar for delivering applications? This is the the PDS issue. The other issue which the Home Minister or Home Ministry has raised regarding the security of the data, we have actually ensured since the very beginning that the data from the point of collection becomes encrypted. So therefore, the data, integrity of the data is maintained throughout the process. So much so that even in the data center, the service providers, various service providers have no access to our raw data of fingerprints and iris. So therefore, we are very conscious of the fact that it's a huge responsibility, and therefore we have to ensure the security and integrity of the data.
Do you think something like this has been panned because perhaps the project started off without the parliamentary approvals? Of course, there was an executive approval, but because, the parliament had not approved the bill and it did not go down well with many of your detractors, do you think the government rushed into something like this?
I will not be able to comment because basically the authority was constituted by the government. Right. The authority was given a mandate by the Planning Commission by its notification of 28th of January 2009, asking it to do certain things, and the authority in response of that has been doing it. We had specifically posed this issue whether we can go ahead with our functions without having a bill. Right. And the Ministry of Law has given a very clear opinion that yes, the authority can go ahead with data collection, with issuance of numbers and all its functions without having a law in place.
The Standing Committee on Finance headed by Yashwant Sinha says there is no clarity of purpose. It is a directionless exercise being done and nobody knows for what UIDs are being issued. What would you want to say in defense to all of those three allegations?
No, put it this way, I am certainly not going to join the issues.
Sure, absolutely not, but I'm sure you have a defense.
Well, what we have done is that basically the report of the Standing Committee has been received by the government, right. and whatever responses we had to give, we have submitted before the government, and government will certainly take a view on this issue. So I am not really going to sort of contradict or join issues on that regard. The only thing which I can say is that the utility of the number or the utility of the whole process has been demonstrated, and now it is various pilot schemes are going on, and therefore I think it is, to say that this has no utility is not really correct.
There is a lot of concern that there is duplication of data that is happening. So NPR is doing something, you doing something, MNREGA is doing something, the BPL studies were doing something. How will you take care of, isn't too much of government effort being wasted into duplication of the same kind of data?
No, I think what is happening is that, first of all, let's take the question, the major duplication controversy, which is the NPR and the
UID.
That issue has been comprehensively addressed by the cabinet, whereby we have been given, go ahead for this additional 40 crores in some of the 18 UTs and states, and the NPR will go ahead in the rest of the country in an accelerated manner. So therefore, both NPR and the RGI and the other registrars of the UIDAI will be able to comprehensively get the data and issue the numbers. So that's one part. Sure. Now with regard to the other issues, other duplications and other kinds of things, let's understand UID or the Aadhaar is only an identity management platform. It is not an eligibility management platform.
That's right. Yeah.
So eligibility is something which will continue to rest with the different organizations, bodies.
Right.
So therefore that is, you can't call that duplication because they are doing their work, we are doing our work.
And that's an important differentiation, eligibility and identity.
Absolutely. So what we are saying X is X and that's what we certify. But whether X is a BPL, whether X is entitled for a ration card,
that's another agency's job to do.
So therefore,
don't you think at one level they should all be converged?
No, it's very difficult because you see the point is that there are this identity management or basic information about you.
Right.
And then, you know, whether you are BPL or not, today you are BPL, tomorrow you are not BPL, how will UIDAI come to know? So therefore, we have neatly separated the eligibility part of the identity and the identity part of the identity.
That's an important clarification. I think it's an important distinction as well. Let me just turn to my last question, which is perhaps a little more optimistic than our interaction has been. There are too many naysayers out there, too many detractors. You've done a phenomenal job. 20 crore people have perhaps got a unique identification number. As we speak, 40 crore more will get it. A, are you still sticking to your timelines? By when will whole of India be able to get a unique identification number? And B, how geared up is the team to shut up the naysayers?
No, let me put it this way. One thing, this is now, this is the largest biometric database in the whole universe.
That's right.
So that's one part. And in fact, when we do 120 crores, we will be an order of magnitude larger than the largest database. So there's no denying that. And therefore, we now possess the technical capability and competence because we have done the study on 84 million fingerprints and biometrics. Nobody else has done. So that's part one. Secondly, we had initially given, we were given this mandate by the government, and we had said that by 2014 we would complete 600 million.
That's right.
We stick to that target. Now with RGI giving us more data, I think we can accelerate the target. There's no, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind because the Registrar General of India is going to do 57 crores by December of 2012.
Yes.
Then of course, and we are also through other registrars doing. So therefore, I think we have a very bright chance of completing the country, so to say, in a much compressed kind of timeline.
Give us a timeline.
No, our timeline remains 2014, 600 million.
All right.
Now we have the mandate also, as you know, 20 crores we have done, 40 crores we'll do, and I think we'll be able to finish it. And I think this is a project which is on target. And in fact, by March 2012, we were supposed to do 20 crores. We have done a little earlier than that. So therefore, I think we are very hopeful. And more than completing the enrollment target, we are hopeful that this particular number will be able to be used to the benefit of the people of this country.
Right.
And I think we feel that this will be one of the most transformational projects in terms of how we do business, how we deliver services to the people of this country.